Technologic.
Marketing Tech Blog.
You know, you can really get trapped in that web of beepers, and Zenith televisions, and Walkmans, and Discmans, and floppy disks, and zip drives, laser discs, answering machines, and Nintendo Power Glove.
Wow, you know so much about technology.
Technologic.
Nice.
Nintendo Power Glove.
All right, so I love this topic today, and I wanted to talk about different mediums within content, because I think that's playing more of a role as well, especially when you're talking about how people are consuming content. So some of this is going to be repeat from other shows that we've done, but I just kind of walk through. So
Wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah, so the four major categories haven't changed, right? We have owned media. That's your site, and your blog and what you're publishing, as well as it can be your sales sheets and white papers and everything else, because you own those. You have full control over those. And then you have earned media. Earned media is, of course, that you earn the right to get on someone else's site. And you were talking about influencer marketing.
Yeah. That's
a huge role of, let's say, a public relations team and working with that. And then you have shared media, which is, social media, and it can be influencer as well. That if someone sees an article that they like that you wrote, they share it out of their social media. And then, of course, there's paid. The thing that I want to talk about is within each of those, how much this is drastically changing, and for the average company, it's a hard thing to kind of get a grasp on. So, and of course, you're writing articles and blog posts, images and diagrams, infographics, and now micrographics are becoming bigger as social becomes a bigger deal.
Yep.
And then presentations, for SlideShare, if you're B2B, that's an important one. White papers, case studies, testimonials, sales sheets, these are all important aspects. And then, of course, video, right?
Yep.
Video is a part of that as well. Now, what you were talking about earlier is you can really grasp someone's attention when you do primary research, and that's when you have the stats that nobody else has.
Correct.
And so that can be expensive, but nowadays, even with survey tools,
right,
you can get a statistically valid survey result fairly easy, out of some of these tools. So the old days of paying millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, now you can pay tens of dollars, and get some good information.
And people are more apt to take those surveys. They want to actually participate in that type of data collection.
And then, of course, like with infographics and everything, secondary research is good if you're putting it together. So Forrester might come out with some data, and Gardner might come out with some data, and then some third party and a company here and a company there. If you push all of that into an infographic, which is commonly what we're doing for clients, secondary research can be really valuable because it's curated content into one consumable, piece, and it can go in a white paper or whatever. And so I wanted to talk about those. The next one that I want to talk about, these are the kinds of new things that keep popping up that you have to get a hold of. We just got a Marketing Tech Blog just got accepted in Apple News.
I saw that.
That's great, Doug.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah,
and Apple News is opening up to all publishers. So there's a vetting process, and actually, if you go to the Marketing Tech Blog, there's nothing published. We've published them from our end. We're just waiting for Apple to basically approve them. But this is another way people are consuming information, is through these apps and services on their mobile devices.
Right.
Facebook has it. Facebook Instant Articles. And so you've got to have you've got to be pushing out there. Google AMP, accelerated mobile pages.
Absolutely.
We talked about that 2 weeks ago on the show, or last week, in depth on the show. I wasn't here, but I listened to it. And so Google AMP is another one that you have to get for Android devices. So it's not enough just to publish stuff on a blog post. You've got to have all of these different ways that you're going.
Absolutely.
When you're going earned, of course, organic search matters. People can find you. People can find out the information, and then they share the information. And so you've got to be where they're looking. Organic video search, local organic search. I think people don't pay a lot of attention to that. And public relations, of course, we love our partners at Ditto who help us with PR.
Yeah, they're good.
Right here in Indianapolis. And then shared influence, of course, we talked about social media and organic influencer marketing is important. You read how many articles on the show today?
Yeah.
That was organic influencer marketing. Nobody pitched them to you.
Nope.
You found the information, you wanted to share it with your audience and did. And then there's, of course, paid. Native advertising is becoming almost a must nowadays.
Absolutely.
We were on the phone with Zamanta and had a great art. People in publishing might have remembered them a while back that they were they had this backlinking, related posts, application. Well, now they really serve. They have a dashboard that serves multiple native advertising, solutions out there, and so these are important if you want to grow your audience. What they do is they take an article that you wrote and that you want to promote, and they put that as a related article next to an article on another site. So if someone clicks, that publisher gets paid, and you get that visit. And it's becoming a very, very good, relevant, high source of great visitors. And so we're looking now we do so much premier content for our clients that we're saying, how do we extend the reach? We could do pay-per-click,
Right.
but it's somewhat relevant. But if someone's reading an article on, let's say, TechCrunch or Mashable or something about marketing tech,
Right.
and we put on, and we have an ad there, a native ad that says, hey, here's an infographic on this topic, you've got someone already they're
Primed.
there to read.
Absolutely.
And they're there to learn and there to research. And so bringing them over to your site. And so we're looking at that as a solution. There's other ones.
Consumer awareness marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Outbrain, Taboola.
Yep.
There's a bunch of them, but
Yeah, we're
the
looking
thing-
at Outbrain too. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've used them. The problem that we have is that some worked, some didn't work, depending on who opened their gateways and who didn't open their gateways on their sites, which sites belong to what. The reason why we're looking at Zamanta is because they have multiple within their network.
Okay.
So you can actually test within out of one.
Gotcha.
So it's an interesting one to look at. And then we announced it during the break. We were talking to Aaron that we signed an engagement with G-Shift. G-Shift Labs has a web presence analytics, and we're going to talk about this more in the future. But there's a problem now on websites where when you're measuring your conversion funnel, let's say,
Yep.
it's within everything that everything that you can see. But the problem is that a lot of these people are coming from places you don't see. They call that the dark funnel.
Right.
It's basically where you can't find. Mark Schaefer's talked about this as well. And that's that you're getting great audience from somewhere,
Yeah.
but you don't exactly know where. You don't know how it started. You don't know who opened up the conversation. Someone might listen to the podcast today
Right.
and then go share the article that you talked about.
Right.
Well, they can't track that back to you talking about it.
Right.
And so what G-Shift and other analytics platforms, these web presence platforms are trying to do is really show you this dark funnel and say, hey, here's where you're getting referrals. Here's where you're getting information. And so this is dramatic change in the content industry,
No,
and-
it gets down to the measurable
Exactly.
space that we didn't have before.
Right.
And you're able to turn up nuggets of gold that are inexpensive delivery because it's what the consumer is actually paying attention to, not the big, even the medium, it's the fractionalized but very, very important places where the consumers are. that
Exactly.
You're able to deliver it.
You nailed it. It's where people are. And the problem that we have today is that, one, first, companies really don't have good websites at all. And if they do have a good website, that's a small percentage of where the audience is. It's a tiny percentage.
Yeah, it really is.
And so you've got to be out there finding these.
It's the
you know,
hunt.
yeah, it is the hunt. And so that's how content is dramatically changing. So keep up with us, and we'll teach you how.
Excellent. So, thanks so much, Doug, from Marketing Tech Blog. Always bringing a unique perspective to today's endless internet marketing landscape. They can find you at marketingtechblog.com.
Yep.
Okay. Great information.